Oh my goodness. I've been speaking without my mic on. Okay, so if you can hear me, put in your emojis. Let me know that you can see me and you can hear me loud and clear. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to our third day of the Safe Motherhood series. Right? Welcome to the third day of the Safe Motherhood series. If you have joined us from day one, you know that we've talked about a lot of things. We've um, we've talked about a lot of things from miscarriages. Our speakers have spoken on miscarriages. They've spoken on family planning. They've spoken on the other two topics. And tonight we'll be talking about who the real Hebrew woman is, and we'll be taking lots of question and answer. So if you're just joining us tonight, write your name and tell me where you are joining us from, and also drop your emojis. So if you have any questions tonight, we are not going to take long. We're just going to do 30-minute maximum. If you have any questions you'll be willing to ask, do well to ask them. Our speakers will be here to answer them, and I would also be here to answer them. So thank you so much. Join us, join us. Let's invite other women. So let me send out the link to let others know that we've started. Welcome to the person that joined. Drop your name and let me know where you are joining us from. Then drop your emojis. We are not going to stay too long tonight. Today is the third day of our Safe Motherhood series. So we're just going to talk about what we've learned so far and question and answer session. So if you're just joining, let me see your emojis. Write your name. Okay. So write your name and tell us where you're joining from. Let's invite others. Okay, Gloria. Thank you for joining, Gloria. So if you're just joining us, let me have your name and where you're joining us from. Gloria, you are very much welcome. Welcome to our YouTube live. Another person has joined. If you're just joining, let me have your name. Clinton from US. Bill Clinton from US. Thank you so much for joining. So today we are rounding up our Safe Motherhood series, and we've been having this discussion since on Friday. And today we are going to round up. We're just going to talk about the things we've talked so far. We've talked about gestational diabetes. We've talked about family planning. We've talked about yes, thank you. We've talked about family planning. We've talked about gestational diabetes. We've talked about what's it called, miscarriage, and all that. And tonight we'll be talking about who is actually the Hebrew woman. the scripture says that a Hebrew woman is a woman that delivers a particular way. So we want to talk about it this night so that people will be aware of who really is an Hebrew woman. And we're going to take question and answers from our mothers. If you have any question, we'll take your question. So we might not be staying long this night. It's just going to be more like a recap from every one of us. So we are expecting the rest to join. I will start as soon as possible. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go on, and the rest will join us. So, for the past 3 days, or let me say today is the third day, our Safe Motherhood series is a series that was born out of passion in order to educate women, talk to them about certain conditions, that is, the conditions that were picked to, you know, educate women about it, for them to have the adequate information and knowledge and not to rush to the hospital, for them to know what to do during pregnancy and after childbirth, of course. And last year, we had our first series of the Safe Motherhood series, and a lot of testimonials came in. Mothers came to reach out to us, even fathers, because some fathers were listening to when their wives were live, they were listening to what we were discussing with them. And some women got feedback even from their partners saying that they really appreciate us and all we've been teaching them and all that. Then we say, okay, why not? Let's have this same series this year, and we're able to pick some topics among the important questions that women ask, right? And that is why we put together this year's Safe Motherhood series. And so far, it has been an amazing and packed session. Our lines of speakers have been amazing. Our speakers have been wonderful. Our speakers have done their best, right? On day one, we had a speaker, we had an expert with 10 years of experience who came to share experience, who came to share her knowledge, right? And she talked about diabetes in pregnancy. She also, no, she talked about what's it called? Abortion, right? And miscarriage. She talked about abortion and miscarriage, right? Then she talked about causes. What are the causes of miscarriage in women? A lot of women come down with miscarriages. What are the causes of these miscarriages? Then she points out things like stress. Stress is the major thing when it comes to miscarriage. A lot of women during their first trimester, when they conceive, they start, giving themselves some strenuous work, strenuous exercises, and all of those stuff. And the speaker made us to know that one of the ways to prevent miscarriages is by resting, especially during the first trimester. So this means that during your first trimester as a pregnant woman, you need to give yourself a lot of rest. During your first trimester is not the time to be jumping up and down, to be doing strenuous exercises and the likes. You need to rest. You need to be in good shape so that the fetus could develop and not come down. Then when you get to the second trimester, you could, do all of your work and your exercises and all that. Then she also points out some things like chromosomal abnormalities, which could allow a woman, maybe when there's a chromosome that is missing, it could allow a woman have miscarriages. Then she talked about so many things. So for those that want to listen to what our first speaker talked about on day one, which is on a Friday, you can go to our YouTube page. This is our YouTube page. Just click on it. You see the previous webinars that we've had. You can take your time to listen to it, to enjoy it, to learn from it, and all of that. Then yesterday, we had another amazing speaker who came to talk to us about gestational diabetes and family planning. So she spoke a whole lot too. If you would like to know what she talked about, kindly go to our YouTube page. You'll see we tagged it day 1, day 2, day 3, so that it will be easier for people to click on it and learn what was taught. So today is the day 3. Today is the final day for the 3-day Safe Motherhood series, and I'm excited that our speakers they've spoken wonderfully. So today, what we want to talk about is something that is so personal to me, right? And I will share some examples. We want to talk about the real Hebrew woman. Now, I know in some scriptures it says in the past that a real Hebrew woman is a woman that delivers, without having to go through cesarean section. You deliver by yourself and all of those things. And because of that, a lot of women have been making certain mistakes. I mean, there are some women that will say, oh, I want to deliver like an Hebrew woman. And probably your pelvic is not adequate for your baby. There is no magic about it. If a woman's pelvic is not adequate for her baby to come out, there is no way she would deliver like an Hebrew woman, right? So I just want everybody to know this. That is why I want us to talk about it. I want everybody to know this, that a Hebrew woman is not a woman that delivers per vagina. An Hebrew woman is a woman that delivers and have a baby successfully, regardless of the means of delivery. Right? I hope we got that right. Regardless of the means of delivery, either she does cesarean section, either she does vaginal delivery, regardless of the means of delivery, an Hebrew woman is a woman that concurs to having an healthy baby, regardless of the means of delivery. Recently, there was a post that was viral. There was a post that went viral. There was a particular woman who had a baby. She was having complications, and the doctors and nurses explained to her that the best way for her to survive and the best way for her baby to survive is by doing a cesarean section. The woman agreed to it, but her partner did not agree to it. Yes, Miracle, thank you for joining from Kwara State. Welcome to the live. So we are talking about an Hebrew woman, that who indeed is an Hebrew woman, because the scripture says an Hebrew woman is a woman that just delivers by herself without having to do CS and all of those things. So back to what I was explaining. This post went viral. If you go on social media, you would see it. So this woman, she concurred that, she knew she had complications, right? And they wanted to do a cesarean section for her, and she concurred to it. But her partner was like, no, my wife is an Hebrew woman and she must deliver like an Hebrew woman. I cannot allow my wife be sectioned. I cannot allow my wife be cut apart. I cannot allow my wife do this. I cannot allow my wife do that. And the man kept saying that. Lo and behold, the woman was convinced. You can check social media. The post went viral. Lo and behold, the woman was convinced. She said she too, she can't undergo CS. She wants to deliver like an Hebrew woman. And before you know, the woman lost the baby. The woman also died. So what am I trying to point out? What I'm trying to point out is that it's past the era of people thinking, oh, as a woman, you have to deliver like an Hebrew woman. Gone are those days. Regardless of your means of delivery, you are still a woman. In fact, I will tell you that regardless of your, or let me say, the real Hebrew woman is the woman that ensures that she have an healthy baby and she herself is healthy. Quote me anywhere. The Hebrew woman, the real Hebrew woman, is one that ensures that she has an healthy baby and she herself is healthy. So regardless of the means of delivery, maybe they tell you you have to do a cesarean section. Nobody will just tell you to come and do a CS without having to, maybe there is a reason why you need to do it, or there's a complication and they're telling you to come and do a cesarean section. If there is no reason to do a cesarean section, no doctor or no specialist or no midwife will advise you to go for a cesarean section. So let's start noting it down today. And let's start correcting other women. So when you come in contact with a woman who is telling you, I want to deliver like an Hebrew woman, you tell her, tell me your definition of Hebrew woman. We have to start changing these narratives. And it is the duty of us, public health specialists, to start reinforcing this, to start advocating this, to start putting it out there, so that every woman would know that a real Hebrew woman is the woman that allows herself to have a healthy baby, and she herself, she's healthy regardless of the means of delivery. Which means if they tell you you have to do a CS, just agree and get it done. If they tell you, oh, they have to do forceps delivery for you, just agree and get it done. Then if they also tell you, oh, you can deliver by yourself, then why not? So please, for everybody that was on this live or that will be watching this live later, please reinforce it to every woman out there, every woman you come in contact with, every woman you meet. Let them know that the real Hebrew woman is a woman that agrees to have an healthy baby and she herself is healthy regardless of the means of delivery. Right. So I just wanted us to discuss about that because a lot of people do not talk about it, right? A lot of professionals do not talk about it. A lot of public especially do not talk about it. That's why I took it upon myself that we need to talk about this thing. Yeah, Joe John, thank you. Thanks for joining. I think it's the second time I'm seeing you on our live. I saw you on the first day as well, but I didn't see you yesterday. So it is important. Any woman you come in contact with, let her know. Ask her, give me your definition of an Hebrew woman. Tell me your definition of an Hebrew woman and hear what she says to you. If she says otherwise, if she doesn't say what I said this night on this live, please correct her and change her mentality. That the real Hebrew woman is a person that allows herself to birth an healthy baby and she herself, she comes out healthy. Not that you tell yourself, no, I can't, my forefathers or somebody somewhere says that I have to deliver by myself before I can be termed an Hebrew woman. Okay, so you came yesterday, but earlier than expected. Okay, thank you for joining. So I think that's all for that. And we're going to jump to our question and answer session. So if you are here, if there are any questions you would have loved to ask the speakers, please throw it to the house. I'll be willing to answer from our day 1 and our day 2. Yesterday, we talked about gestational diabetes. We talked about family planning. If there are questions you feel you want to ask that has not been answered, please ask them so that it will be answered. Then on the first day, which was on a Friday, we talked about what's it called, miscarriage, and we also talk about mental health in pregnancy. So if there are questions that you'd like to ask about mental health in pregnancy or miscarriages, please do well to ask. I think I'm seeing the question on the screen. What are the causes of pregnant women? What are the causes of pregnant women going through CS? Okay, if I'm to rephrase that question, how can one avoid issues leading to CS during pregnancy? Okay, if I could hear you properly, let me answer your first question. You said, what are the causes of pregnant women going through CS? I mean, what you're trying to say is that what causes a woman to have a cesarean section? Now, there's so many reasons why they will advise a woman to go for a cesarean section. Like I was explaining in the beginning, I said it could be CPD. There's something we call CPD, cephalopelvic disproportion, which means that the human pelvic is not adequate for the baby to come out. Let's say the baby is like, for example, let's say the baby is big and the woman's pelvic is narrow, right? Something is coming, right? Let's say this is baby's head. Baby's head is coming like this, and this is the woman's pelvic. Now, let's say the woman's pelvic is like this, and this is the baby head. Can you see? So you yourself, you would see that the baby cannot pass through because the pelvis is not adequate for the baby's head to jump down. But let's say the woman's pelvis is like this and the baby's head is like this. You can see the baby's head then comes down. That's when the baby head come out. Do you understand? So that's what we call cephalopelvic disproportion. So it could be that the woman pelvic is not adequate for the baby. There is no magic about it. The baby's head will keep pressing, and it will not go. And with time, once the baby keep pressing like that, the baby gets tired. There will be fetal distress. Sometimes there could be maternal distress and all that. Before you know, the woman could start bleeding, or the baby is getting tired. They are doing the fetal heart monitoring and the baby can no longer withstand the stress and all that. And in that situation, they could even lose the baby or the mother. So that is one common cause that they will say, oh, as a woman, you are not progressing, you need to go for cesarean section. Then there are other causes, something like big baby. We call it macrosomic baby. If, for example, a woman is having a baby of like 4.5 kg or 5 kg, or macrosomic baby, a bigger baby that is bigger than the pelvis of the woman, is just related to the same thing that I explained. So in that situation, it is the big baby that is causing the pelvic not to be adequate. Right? There are sometimes that the pelvic is not adequate, but the baby is small, but the pelvic is not just adequate for the baby to pass through. Why there are sometimes that is the baby that is big. That is why the baby is not able to pass through. Then there are so many other conditions like fetal distress. If the baby is getting tired and the fetal heart rate is dropping, they could advise the woman, oh, your baby is in distress. You can't allow this baby to keep being in distress. Or the mother can no longer continue with the pain and all that. Maternal distress, the mother is also in distress. They could allow her to go for cesarean section. So there are so many reasons why they could advise a woman to go for cesarean section. But if all things being equal, then nobody will just tell you go for a cesarean section. I hope your question is answered, Joe. Then for the second one, how can one avoid issues leading to CS? Like I said, when you look at some courses, those courses, you could tackle those courses. For example, big baby, macrosomic baby. If you are the type that you know that once you get pregnant, you are likely to have a big baby, or you go for a scan and they tell you that, oh, your baby is already big. Sometimes you may need to cut down on your diet, right? Sometimes you may need to eat lesser so that the baby does not grow bigger, or you avoid, for example, for some women that have gestational diabetes. We talked about it yesterday. One of the speakers talked about it yesterday. For women that have gestational diabetes, that means they don't have diabetes before. It was when they got pregnant they had diabetes. For those kind of women, they need to cut down. They need to observe the kind of food they eat. They need to cut down on certain sugar, on certain glucose. They need to increase more protein in their food. They need to increase more fiber in their food instead of carbohydrate, because once they eat that, the effect of gestational diabetes is that the baby keeps blowing up. I mean, the baby will just be big. That's when you see some women deliver a baby of 4.5 kg, 5 kg, and the rest of those things. So if you see that you are already the type like that, you have to cut down on the food, or on the kind of food you eat. Then there are some women that when you go for your pelvic scan, if your pelvic is not adequate, they will already advise you on what to start doing and all of those things. So those are the minimal ways in which you can avoid having a cesarean section. But in most cases, before they tell you to go for a cesarean section, it means they've exhausted all options before your gynae or whoever advises you to go for a cesarean section. I hope I've answered that question. Okay, you wrote thank you. Yeah, thank you too. So if you have any other question, feel free to bring it up. We're not going to stay long this night. Today is just to wrap up the Safe Motherhood series and to, get to answer your questions. So if you have any other question, do well to bring it up. Okay, I'm seeing you. What is best to go? When is best to go for a scan for your baby size during pregnancy? I mean month. Now, as the pregnancy progresses, you can always go for a scan. I mean, the first 3 months, you can go for a scan for you to know the progression of your baby. So in 3 months, you can go for a scan. Of course, before 3 months, you should go for your first scan to see how the baby is doing and all that. So the first 3 months, you can use that to judge, more like a criteria to know the size of the baby. So the first 3 months, you go for the scan to know the weight of the baby. Then once you approach 5 months or 6 months, you go for another scan. At least within 5 months, you know that you are approaching you are already in the second semester, right? You're already in your second trimester, rather. You're already in the second trimester and you're leaning towards the third trimester. And in the third trimester, sometimes the baby may not grow too much in the third trimester. There are mostly a lot of growth in the first and second trimester and early third trimester. During, let's say, when the baby is already 8 months or 9 months, they don't really grow too much, right? Their weights are not so significant. But most of the weight gain and the significant weight is mostly in the first trimester and second trimester. So you might want to use that to, get your criteria. Just do the scan in the first trimester in the 3 months. After you do that, then in 6 months or in 5 months, you could do another scan. For example, if you do the first scan and the baby is like 2 kg, right? And you're doing another scan and you're seeing that the baby is like 4 kg, or let me say the baby is like 3.6, 3.7. You know already that an healthy weight baby, the healthy weight for a baby is within 2.5 to 3.5. That's the healthy weight for a baby. So if the baby is going above 3.5, you know that gradually you are leaning towards having a bigger baby. Let's say the baby is now going to 3.7, 3.9, 4 kg. You're not leaning towards a bigger baby. So once you do the scan at that point, that scan will guide you that, oh, your baby is this. Then you might want to watch what you eat, the amount of carbohydrates you put in. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat, but you might want to cut down on some amount of carbohydrate. Some women in pregnancy, they start to eat a lot of carbohydrates, and they start to gain a lot of weight and all those things. So it is important that you use those scans at 3 months. Then when you are leaning toward 5 months or 6 months, you could check another one for you to be able to get a comparison in the size. I hope that answers your question. I hope that answered your question, John. So if you have any other question, you could drop it before we wrap up. Like I said, this night is to talk about, we've talked about the first thing. For those of you that are just joining that want to know what we talked about, you could replay this what's it called? This session. And for those of you that want to ask questions, you could ask, what is the LD weight again? I already mentioned the LD weight for a baby is 2.5 to 3.5. 2.5 to 3.5. If you have less than 2.5, you're having a low birth weight baby. If you start having more than 3.5, you are leaning towards having a big baby. Okay? So that's it. That's that about that. Any more question from anyone? If you don't have any more question, we are just going to wrap up. And that's all. That will be all for our Safe Motherhood series. So, anyone who have any further question, for those who are just watching or for those who are just joining, for those who will be joining us, this Safe Motherhood series was powered by LOK Natal Care. and we have a pregnancy and delivery support community of over 1,200 women. So if you would like to, or you would love to, if you're a pregnant woman who is watching us, or you know a pregnant woman in your corner, or you know a woman in your corner, and you wish to join our pregnancy and delivery support community, just look at the screen. There's a link to join our WhatsApp on the screen. There's a link to join our WhatsApp on the screen. And if you are not getting the link from here, from the screen, just tap on this live, or you tap on LOK Natal Care YouTube, you would see our link for our WhatsApp there. In any of the description, you could easily see the link to our WhatsApp. So join, invite other women to join, encourage other women to join, so that you could get adequate information and knowledge about pregnancy journey. And what we are doing at LOK Natal Care is we are striving to ensure every woman have adequate information and knowledge to enjoy a seamless maternal and childbirth journey, for you to have a seamless pregnancy and a seamless motherhood. So if you have joined us for the 3 days, you've joined us since on Friday, thank you so much for joining. We hope you learned a lot. We hope you've been able to get one thing or the other. We hope you've been able to get adequate information and knowledge that you can, let me say, teach a fellow woman, or you can also hold, for you to have a seamless pregnancy and childbirth journey. And like I said, if you wish to join our pregnancy and delivery group support community, do well to reach out to us, do well to reach out to me, or do well to reach out to, you see the numbers and the WhatsApp link on our YouTube channel. Do well to reach out to us there, and we will see you on the inside. We'll see you in the community. Then, before we have any other sessions like this again for the Safe Motherhood series, that will be next year by the grace of God, 2025, by the grace of God. So I wish you all compliments of the season and a happy new year in advance. May God preserve us. May God keep us for the year 2025. And we'll all come back together. We'll all come back here to see each other's face, to have a beautiful webinar in 2025 by the grace of God. So I hope this session has been impactful. If you are here and you're on our WhatsApp community, do well to reach out to us, to give us testimonials. Do well to tell us how this webinar has impacted you. Do well to tell us what you've learned from the webinar, so that people could know that, oh, this is what LOK Natal Care have done, and this is the women that we've impacted. So thank you so much, everyone. That will be all for tonight, and that will be all for the year. So bye, everyone. See you in 2025. Thank you, Joy John. God bless you too. You said the whole section were education now. Thank you. I really appreciate your feedback. Thank you.